today mainly the first principles review, a little bit about the white paper and a little bit about what's going on in estate and infrastructure group. I was sort of hoping that by now we'd have a white paper, and the plan was to go into great detail about what it all means for us. So when we get to that part, we'll just see how brave I'm feeling and see how far forward we go. First principles review. It's been out now for a little while, came out in April, and the review really was tasked with looking at the Department of Defence, not particularly the military side, but the Department of Defence and how it should be organised for future. And the review identified 5 challenges that face the department. Firstly, we are embarked on a significant capability modernisation program. So, the Air Force has been reinvigorated over the last few years with more platforms to come. The Navy is now the next sort of area where a huge capability modernisation is ongoing and planned, and significant procurements for the Army. So it's a time of great capability refreshment. It's also a time of rapid technological change. David Peter, who ran the review, noticed the opportunities here, but also the difficulties with processes as they currently stand in the department, being so slow and cumbersome, and therefore you can't take advantage of the change unless the technology unless you change. We've had significant budgetary uncertainty in the department over the last few years. That is an improving situation, but it means that we have to be able to constantly demonstrate that we are cost effectively pursuing the various objectives that we pursue. Significant economic growth in the region. What does that mean for defence? It means that we're becoming relatively a smaller fish in the pond that we play. We've always enjoyed in the region that we are in a military superiority over other players, and that sort of superiority gap, if you like, is closing as regional players become more economically powerful and invest more in their defence capabilities. And we've seen, certainly in the past decade or so, an increasing pressure on the use of military forces. We've been significantly deployed now in an ADF sense since the early 2000s, and there is no obvious sign of that slowing down or stopping as we go into the future. So these are the challenges identified in the first principles review, which is primarily aimed at setting the department up for the future, rather than looking back at how we've been set up in the past. So the strategy for the department is being refreshed through a white paper. The government's expectations about defence and its role and what we'll be doing are changing, particularly around the way we govern and manage ourselves, and transparency and visibility of what we do in a defence departmental sense. And so this review is seen as a sort of root and branch review, the like of which we haven't seen for a long time in defence. So those of you that are students of defence reviews will remember recent reviews like the Strategic Reform Programme or the Defence Reform Programme of the late 90s. They were really efficiency-focused reviews. How do we take cost out? How do we save money? This review is not primarily aimed at cost saving. It's really aimed at setting the department up for the future, and it's been described as more of an effectiveness review. How does the department be more effective in delivering the outcomes that it needs to deliver? David Peever also noted that one of the key issues we have is that the Department of Defence is really a loose federation of titanium-clad slave clubs. So there are elements of the organisation that can work quite well, but they prefer to work quite well independently of the other parts of the organisation. And hence, he actually titled the report One Defence, which is really about sending that message that defence needs to operate as an integrated federation rather than a disintegrated federation. So the other recommendations all fit within one of these 5 streams of work that are now ongoing inside the department. The first is to build a strategic centre, and this is really about ensuring that the CDF and the Secretary have a better way of governing the activities of the department, and that there is a central planning process, there is central governance and coordination and oversight in that process. That enables the department to more consciously engage with risk in the various areas of activity, in the knowledge of how those risks might interact with other parts of the department and things that are going on. There will be a contestability function built into the strategic centre, which is something that David Peter felt was lacking. The bottom line is, particularly in capability decisions and in my work in estate and facilities decisions, where we've come from is a period where various of the stovepipes have argued passionately for their piece of the pie, and there hasn't been good contestability across the breadth of investment in the department.